Well, good afternoon all, and welcome back to Desert Springs here in Andalusia, sunny southeastern Spain, for match 5 in the Celtic Challenge, Ireland women versus Scotland women. You join us for the second of the one-dayers. Just a reminder that the format has been 3 one-dayers and 2 2020s, so I've just misled you. It's the second of the 2020s today. I knew that. Second T20 today. Yesterday, quite a comfortable win in the T20 for the Ireland side. They were only required to chase down 92, and they did that quite comfortably for the loss of only 3 wickets, with a good 3 overs to spare. A reminder of what happened last week in the ODIs. Scotland started the week off firing on all cylinders and took the first game, and then Ireland found their step and won games 2 and 3. So the overall score in the series is Ireland 3, Scotland 1 so far. So as the old cliche goes, nothing to play for but pride. But it is, let us remind ourselves, an international game of cricket, so there is absolutely everything to play for. The match will begin at 2 o'clock. Let me give some information on teams. Ireland today, in alphabetical order: first, skipper Laura Delaney, then Ava Canning, Alana Dalzell, Georgina Dempsey, Amy Hunter, Louise Little, Gabby Lewis, Sophie McMahon, Cara Murray, Orla Prendergast and Amy Maguire. There's the Ireland side. Scotland: Catherine Bryce, Liv Bell, Sarah Bryce, Darcy Carter, Priyonaz Chatterjee, Lorna Jack, Ailsa Lister, Abdahar Maksud, Megan McCall, Hannah Rainey and Ellen Watson. There are the teams in alphabetical order. We'll give you the batting orders as and when we know them. As I say, everything's very flexible in T20. We're on a different track than we were yesterday. We're much nearer the pavilion. I'm reliably informed by our groundsman here, Alan Paul, who does a fantastic job. We are on track number 9, on strip number 9, if that's the sort of thing that interests you. And if you like your track knowledge, it is a mixture of both Bermuda and rye grass. We had a long discussion last night about the maintenance of this ground, because they play cricket here 10 months a year here at Desert Springs in Spain, and that takes some doing, because different grasses, I am reliably informed, grow in different temperatures and then stop growing above and below different temperatures. So Alan has the headache of deciding what grasses go on what strips so that he can provide cricket 10 months a year. So the one today, a mixture of Bermuda grasses and rye grasses. There we go. Note that one down. The umpires are coming out to the middle. Followed by the teams. Scotland are in the field. Now that's an interesting one, because Ireland won the toss and elected to bat. Yesterday, Scotland won the toss and elected to bat. And that perhaps was their undoing, because Scotland didn't really know what kind of total they were looking to set. And they batted a little bit like headless chickens and ran like headless chickens. The toss was earlier. Here's the result of the toss. As I say, Ireland won the toss and will bat. And there is confirmation of it. Captain Laura Delaney miming a batting motion. And as the bats make their way to the middle, there are shouts of encouragement all the way around the ground from the Scotland players for the fielders. Yes, yesterday Scotland winning that toss perhaps was their undoing. They didn't know how fast they needed to go and took lots of unnecessary risks batting, and were bowled out within their allotted spell just for 91. The only Scotland batters really that made a dent were Carter. At the top of the order, she opened 45 of 55 balls, and the only support she got was from Megan McCall yesterday. Anyway, Ireland batting now. Let's go live to the action. And there's a wide to start proceedings. Leg side wide gets the scoreboard moving. If not, the actual batters' scores moving. Amy Hunter, our wicket keeper, or the Ireland wicket keeper, is facing number 54, and she just pushes that one out on the offside. It's tidied up by the keeper. There is no run, so no fireworks yet. Ireland batted very, very sensibly yesterday. Again, most of the runs, as with the Scottish innings yesterday, were scored just by the one batter, but the difference being she got support from the other end. Just a dot ball there. Yeah, most of the runs scored yesterday by Gabby Lewis, 53 off 51, but the difference to the Scotland innings was she got support and people hung around to allow her to compile those runs. Amy Hunter at the top got 10 runs with her. All of Prendergast didn't get going, but then Laura Delaney came out and scored 25 runs. Just a ball there on the pads, worked to the leg side for a single. So yeah, just as a final summary of yesterday, quite a comfortable win for Ireland. They chased down their target of 92 in the 17th over. They had 3 wickets to spare, and they will be confident of batting big and deep today. So that's enough about yesterday. We have a game of cricket going on in front of us. Let's concentrate on that. In comes Catherine Bryce. Gabby Lewis is off the mark. Batted very, very confidently yesterday. Some very nice shots. And just trading in singles at the moment. No dramas. Catherine Bryce, who was opening the bowling, also opens the batting for Scotland, and she got out very cheaply yesterday. She's bowled a good over to start the match today. Yeah, yesterday when batting, she generally takes the responsibility of scoring the lion's share of the runs for Scotland, but she didn't manage to do that yesterday, and Scotland never really got going. But that's the end of the first over of this match. 4 without loss, off 1, bowled by Catherine Bryce. Amy Hunter and Gabby Lewis looking very comfortable out there, having a little chat, as batters always do between overs, whether they've got anything to say or not. The weather, for those that like to know about these things, it's as warm as it was yesterday, but it's not as windy. There's still the odd gust, but it's nothing like the storms, well, not the storms, but the very brisk winds we had yesterday. Priyanaz Chatterjee has the ball in her hands. Bowled well yesterday for Scotland. And she puts one on the spot. A mistimed drive by Amy Hunter. There is no run. Priyanaz Chatterjee again. She's got 2 fielders in the deep, both behind square. One on the offside, one on the leg side. Nothing in the deep in front of the wickets. Another dot ball. For those watching back home, Amy Hunter plays for 2 clubs back in Ireland, both Malahide and Estonians. So hello to everybody in both of those clubs. You must be very proud of what Amy's doing. One of those funky shots that she enjoys. She's placed it beautifully as well. A little flip. 4 runs down to third with a scoop shot. And once again, people there at Malahide and Estonians, I'm sure you're enjoying watching Amy. The young lady who is on top of her game at the moment. squirted down to third again. Completely different shot, but down to the same areas, but without the pace. Just the one run, but Hunter keeps the scoreboard ticking over. Gabby Lewis checks with the umpire how many balls to come. Takes a guard. Chatterjee is ready to come in and is always starting a run before Gabby Lewis is ready. Here she comes now. Ooh, now Lewis shapes to work that away through the cordon and very nearly got a little outside edge through to the keeper. Not a shot she'll be particularly proud of, and she stands there with the bat over her shoulder looking fairly desolate. Is that the word I'm looking for? Desolate. That's the word I'm looking for. She'll have a word with herself, and I'm sure we'll see a more authentic shot to this ball. Well, you don't get much more wrong than that as predictions do. She scored beautifully yesterday, never got settled today. She's walked right across her stumps, been bowled behind her legs, attempting a scoop shot. And that is the end of Gabby Lewis. Disappointing for Ireland. But since Ireland didn't need to bat very deep yesterday, it will open up the chances for other people to score the runs. But you see there on the replay, right across, wide open and just bowled. You've got to hit the ball. If you do that to yourself, haven't you? You have to hit that. So Chatterjee takes her first wicket. Lewis is out, just the one run of 4 balls. Not her day with the bat today. It's also the end of the over. And the umpire gives Chatterjee a cap. The fielders make their way to their positions. And a good start for Scotland. 9 for 1 off 2. They'll be very pleased with that. Orla Prendergast is the batter to come out and join Amy Hunter. Orla Prendergast was out for 1 yesterday, got out very quickly, in and out very quickly. She will look to make amends today. Very powerful batter when she gets going. So, Amy Hunter to face. And Scotland have gone to spin. It hasn't necessarily worked. It's a race between the fielder and the ball just wins. A despairing dive down there on the boundary by Elsa Lister. And 4 runs off the bat for Amy Hunter, who is settling in nicely. Again, too short again and worked round the corner, and that is, I have to say, a misfield at square leg, and the ball has gone for 4 again, and that is disappointing, because that was not hit with the force of the previous ball. But 4 more for Hunter. And sadly, Abdahar Maqsood was the fielder there who might have done a little better. So Liv Bell, this change to spin for Scotland hasn't worked as a gamble. Much better ball, better line, better length, and just draws the forward defensive from Amy Hunter. No need to do anything dramatic. When you hit the first 2 balls of an over, both for 4, you're ahead, aren't you? You're ahead of the game for the rest of the opening play. Every ball on its merits. That's short again, and that gets fetched round the corner. And hopefully there's better fielding. There's much better fielding there on the boundary. A big shout from Orla Prendergast of no. Hunter wanted the second. Prendergast says, oh, no, 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 I fancy a bit of this. And Olivia Bell has only found a line and length with 1 of the balls she's bowled so far. She's dropped the other 3 in short. Let's see what she can do to Orla Prendergast. That seems a better line absolutely. Just brings the forward defensive. A much better ball. And a good recovery. And again, on the spot, just a defensive push back onto the leg side by Orla Prendergast. It's the end of the over, a good over for Ireland. 18 for 1 off 3. Orla Prendergast from the Pembroke Club. That's where she plays her club cricket. Known as a very powerful and aggressive batter. And she'll be hoping to get going today. It's a glorious day for cricket. The track is superb. The boundaries, we're right on the pavilion side of the square, so the leg side boundary from the end we've just had is quite short, so it's the short offside boundary for the bowler from this end. Change of bowling, Darcy Carter. Darcy Carter, who had success with the bat yesterday, comes on with the ball. A tall bowler, and she brings her arm right over straight at the top, so it's coming from quite a height. And she could well have got her first wicket. There's a fielder under it. And it is put down, and sadly, it is put down by Abdahar Maqsood, who was the fielder at the misfield in the previous over. She is desolate. She's got her head in her hands. It was very, very well bowled by Carter. And you don't like to see a player beating herself up, and people will be feeling for Maqsood there. Carter strays a little bit too straight on that one, allowing the ball to be lapped round, and Prendergast just laps that round the corner for 4 very easy, risk-free runs. And Carter, who could have just had a wicket, sadly sees a poorish ball go for 4. The changing fortunes of cricket. Again, Fuller and on the spot from Carter. Just produces the defensive shot from Prendergast. Scotland trying to keep the buzz going in the field. Prendergast gives it the charge, and Carter gets down and stops that one. And there is no run. I think it could be a good battle between these two. They're both confident players. And again, almost a carbon copy, cut and paste of the previous ball. Prendergast goes on the charge, and it's stopped by the bowler. That's the end of the over. A good over, just the one loose ball in there that went for 4 on the leg side, and a dropped catch. I'm sure the captain will be more than happy for Carter to come on and continue her spell. Catherine Bryce has a ball in her hands at the other end, continues at the other end this discussion with her fielders. Amy Hunter, who hasn't seen a lot of the strike for a little while, is waiting, attempts to cut that out on the offside, but all she can do is cut it down into the ground, and it runs out to cover. There is no run. That is well fielded by the fielder on the one on the leg side. Quite a fine leg, and she got down to stop that very well. Loose ball down the leg side. Again, that's a little bit leggy. Allows Hunter just to tap it off her pads, and they jog through for a single. No dramas. And the score goes up to 24 for 1. That's a better ball from Bryce. There's a big shout, and the umpire said that's good enough for me. Orla Prendergast has a quizzical look back down the wicket, but nobody likes, I wouldn't say there was dissent there at all, but nobody likes getting out leg before. But she sort of had that sort of thing that Labradors do when they're trying to understand you and they put their head on one side. She sort of looked down quizzically at the umpire and then off she went. Very well bowled. Catherine Bryce pitched that one fully up. The Scotland bowlers have from that end been pitching too short and been fetched round the corner, and that one I think caught Prendergast by surprise. And there it was. It looked a good enough shout to me. Prendergast trying to pull one over the umpire but just saying no to her partner as if there was no trouble, no worry at all about the leg before, but up went the finger. And Prendergast goes for 4 runs off her 7 balls, and it has not been her tournament on the 2020s or the T20s. New batter to come in. The Ireland captain, Laura Delaney, looked very, very tidy with her batting when she came in yesterday and supported Gabby Lewis. She won't be supporting Gabby Lewis today because Gabby Lewis is already back in the pavilion. Oh, and that's a big shout. And the umpire is completely unmoved. Excellent work by Sarah Bryce behind the stumps as well. Firstly in the appeal, and secondly of where she held her gloves whilst she was appealing, which were right over middle and leg stump, as if to say to the umpire, that's exactly where that was going. And Catherine Bryce again just lets the pressure off with one that can be nudged round the corner. But another good over from Catherine Bryce. She'll be happy with that. Another wicket. 24 for 2 off 5 overs. Scotland doing well. Ireland have looked as if they're just about to get going. Scotland have just nipped it in the bud a little bit. Anyone's game at this stage. 6 and over is the rate. Scotland more than capable of scoring at 6 and over if they bat sensibly. Big if after yesterday's performance. Chatterjee continues her spell. And Catherine Bryce is changing her field around. She's putting in a long off. And she herself is in a sort of shortish extra cover. And that is a very good shot. Chatterjee seemed to lose a run-up slightly on that one and stuttered, a sort of a hop and a skip as she came to a delivery stride. And I think that was enough to throw her off her line, and she gave enough width for Laura Delaney to free her arms and just carve that away through the offside. A nice shot. And the bad ball getting punished. much better ball and treated with the respect it deserved. Just pushed back to Chatterjee, I'm terribly sorry. And again, a better ball. And just pushed out again on the offside. There is no run. Shouts of well bowled Prionaz come from around the field. And Lord Delaney stands there again, poised with the high back lift. But all she can do is bring that down to meet her front pad in a defensive shot, and there is no run. Well bowled again by Prionaz. Just the one loose ball in the over so far. And again, another good ball elicits another defensive shot. Delaney in no hurry. And why should she be? It's a lovely day to bat. You don't want to get out. Keep out the good ones, punish the bad ones. And that was too short. Could have been punished, could have been a catch, could have benefited either side. That in the end, it's a dot ball. It's a ball that's too short that is carved out on the offside. And it would be harsh to put that down as a drop. But I think the fielder at point might have caught her right on the point of the knee. That's Elsa Lister. She's jogging, as she jogs back to her position on the boundary, she seems to be jogging freer and freer. It's one of those injuries that wears off in 30 seconds. But somebody is dashing to her with a magic spray as we speak. So there will be a change of bowling from the other end. It looks as if there will be. Liv Bell is the new bowler. Just an economical run up. Comes in off 4 or 5 paces, turns her arm over, and it's pushed back past her just for the single. I'm just intrigued by the field at the moment. There doesn't appear to be anyone on the one in front of square on leg side. Ah, hang on. Catherine Bryce, there she is, I think. And it goes exactly to her. So the field is very defensive on the leg side. We've got 3 leg side boundary riders. Just Catherine Bryce there at mid-wicket. And that could have been a chance, perhaps. I'd need to see the replay. As it is, just the dot ball. In comes Bell again. Arm comes over. That's a good length. It hurries not so much hurries her for pace, but cramps Delaney for room. And again, Delaney thinks, I'll make my own room, and comes skipping down to the pitch of the ball. Plays a nice controlled drive along the ground. Down to long on. Jogs through for the single. Amy Hunter is facing And there's a curious shout of catch there because it went mainly along the ground. Ball a little bit too short, allowed Amy Hunter to swivel round, pull that out. Again, down to the cow corner boundary, except it's not cow corner when the ball goes along the ground. But you know where I mean. Bell seemed to whiz through her over there. Hannah Rainey has the ball in her hands now. And the field had been set for Rainey. Quite pacey, Rainey. Just as the field goes, she's got two boundary fielders on the offside, one at deep third and one on the cover boundary. And then a long leg. Everybody else is in on the one. Square leg actually going back a little deeper now. Square leg sort of actually is going right back to the boundary. So we've got a deep square leg and a long leg on the leg side. Boundary fielders. Then we've got a mid wicket, mid on, mid off, short extra cover and a point. That's your field. And Rainey over pitches, and that has gone for 4 runs. Amy Hunter's eyes opened wide, as well they might, and she didn't have to do very much other than put back to ball. There are two, as I say, leg side fielders down in the deep there, but she went right between the pair of them. And an easy 4 runs. Now the big problem seems to be how do we get the ball back? The two fielders who've gone down there are struggling with a gate. One's hopping over a fence. It's just like lovely village cricket. The international cricket match here and somebody's hopping over a fence to get a ball. That's what I like to see. Don't forget your roots. Better length from Rainey. If anything, a tad short, which just allows it to be dabbed down to third, but certainly a far better length than the ball just disappeared. And she does generate quite a bit of pace. She's brought in another fielder on the offside, so there's quite a tight offside field in terms of point cover and extra cover. And she squares up Laura Delaney. But only a half-hearted appeal. The fielder who had come in at tight at cover has gone back out onto the cover boundary. Not a bad ball. If anything, slightly overpitched, allows it to be driven, but just the one. That boundary rider whom I just mentioned, Elsa Lister, gets to that very, very quickly and gets a throw in. And the score goes on to 39 for 2. And a nice ball to finish by Rainey that can be just pushed back into the offside. And that is the over. 7 off it, 6 off the bat, and a leg by. Ireland go up to 39 for 2 off 8. They certainly haven't cut loose. Scotland, despite the odd loose ball, have kept things fairly tight. In fact, if we look at the last 5 overs, they've gone for 5 runs, 2 runs, 4 runs, 3 runs, and then 7 runs off Hannah Rainey's over there. So nice and tight by the Scots. Ooh. Just the one. Laney down on the boundary, does the fielding. The ball comes back in. I mentioned earlier that there was no rush for Ireland, but at some point, with 8 wickets in hand, you'd like to see them open up a little bit. A half chance from Laura Delaney. She skips down, gets a bit of a leading edge to it, but it goes safely through mid-on, and they jog through for a single. Amy Hunter facing. And Bell strays on length, and she's fetched round the corner. The despairing dive of the fielder behind square, and that is 4 runs. Sorry, it's not Liv Bell, it's Darcy. It's Darcy Carter who's bowling. I missed the bowling change. It's Darcy Carter. I do apologise, I've called the last 2 balls as if it was Liv Bell. Bell bowling right arm round to 2 right-handers. There will be a reason. I don't know what it is, but there'll be a reason. Calls of well bowled Darcy come round the ground, which should have been the clue to me that it was Darcy Carter rather than Liv Bell bowling. Again, she's straight short on that, and that again is pulled around the corner. Just for the single again, tied it up by Hannah Rainey. And we've seen a lot of shots that just a little short down there, allowing the batters to just take the single down to deep square leg. Again, that one a bit short. And again, the same result, but this one I believe is just going to beat Rainey on a boundary. Good effort to get there, but sadly the short ball allows Laura Delaney to pick her spot, and it was out of the reach of Rainey running around the boundary, and that's the end of the over. And you feel Ireland have just stepped up a gear there, 12 off the over. If they continue at 12 and over for the rest, what we've got, we'll be back to about 160, 170. Now, Abdahar Maqsood is coming on to bowl. Her confidence can't be great. She put down a catch earlier, which she beat herself up about quite a lot. Let's see if she can get her spirits back with a nice tight over to start. She's just tweaking her field. She's taking the fielder from behind square on the leg side and putting her down at short third. So Maqsood ready, in she comes. A little bit of width allows Delaney to free her arms on the offside, just the single. And Catherine Bryce, the skipper, just has a word of advice or encouragement, and she's put the fielder back to where it was originally on the leg side behind square. So that short third has come out. And it's very well bowled up in the block hole there, dug out. And the word from Catherine Bryce would have been, I believe, to bowl straighter if she's taken out that offside fielder. It is very much a leg side field. We've got a 5-4 leg side field. Yes, Abdahar comes the shout from the boundary. And I say this will be doing her confidence a world of good after a disappointment in the field earlier. Fuller ball, right up there. The wide Yorker, you see that a lot in the professional game, T20, very well bowled. Just a ball back of a length, just for a single, and it's a nice, tidy over so far. One more to come. And at the end of the over, I will introduce our guest for this afternoon. After her over pitches ever so slightly, she's met on the full toss by Delaney coming down, dancing down, but again it's just one run, and that's a good tight opening over from Abdallah. My guest, Toby. Hello, dear boy. How are you? Switch your microphone on.
Very well, thank you.
Now,
what a lovely day.
It is a lovely day. You are another one of these performance directors.
I am indeed.
We had the Ireland performance director yesterday. We've got Toby Maguire, isn't it?
Bailey.
Bailey. Where did I get Maguire from?
Maybe the agent, I don't know.
It could
Jerry
well be.
Maguire.
Toby, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Toby, how are you?
I'm very well. It's great to be here. The facilities again are amazing. The sun shines out. We've got two very good teams playing against each other. What could be better?
What could be better? Well, from your point of view, a Scotland win. You are the Scotland performance director.
Yeah, that would be nice. It was great in the one-day series that we got victory in that. That was our first ODI, and to get a victory was amazing. So hopefully we can get one over the Irish today.
Is that realistic?
Absolutely.
It is, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Would you agree? We had a discussion yesterday that batting first, the Scottish women didn't really know what total to set and perhaps were a little headless at times. Would you agree with that?
Well, what I would say is that the Irish bowled extremely well, and I think there's a certain brand of cricket which we're trying to play at the moment. We're not quite there yet, but hopefully we can do some learning and we can get there today.
Lovely, because the thing that held you back yesterday was the regular fall of wickets, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's going to kill you in T20 cricket. You've got to have your partnerships, but yeah, new batsmen going to the crease. It's always hard.
It is, absolutely. You're required, or at least expected, to score from the get-go, and that isn't always possible.
No.
And only really Darcy got going yesterday, 45 runs opening, and she batted right through until 9th wicket down. And the only person that really came in and gave her that support, Megan McCall, wasn't it?
Yeah, Megan played well at the end there, just to hold everything together. And obviously Darcy, a beautiful innings. But really, we needed more partnerships to get a better total.
Very much so. But in the field, looking very good today.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some quality bowlers, especially our spinners. So hopefully we can, tie the Irish down and get a few more wickets in the next 10 overs.
Lovely. The action starts again. At the end of this over, I'm going to ask you. Just a little scampered single. At the end of this over, in fact, I'll ask you now and we can chat while this. We're only in the 11th over. Nothing interesting happens in the 11th over. Where are we as a country in terms of development? Ireland, the women's programme is quite well developed. You're main task individually, I believe, is to obviously bring on development now for Scotland to bring them up to that level.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with the women's game, it's growing so quickly, which is really, really exciting. The issue is we just don't have the critical mass of players at the moment, so we don't have that competition. So what we've got to do is obviously invest in development and also invest at the same time in the high performance. And now that's not just a Scottish thing. So I'm seeing that more in England as well.
Yes.
So we're seeing a lot of regions contacting our players and trying to contract our players, which is
really
which is
terrific.
great.
Yeah.
But it shows that when there isn't that critical mass again for regional cricket in England also. So yeah, we've got to have more programs, and that's what we're doing.
Lovely. That's the way forward, and it's true for any emerging nation, isn't it? I've lived here in Spain now for 6 years, and it's getting, as you say, critical mass is the phrase you used a couple of times, and it's getting youngsters playing it at school and club level, as opposed to other sports that they've more traditionally played.
Yeah, and I think now with the 100, and we gave contracts for the very first time last year. Well, actually earlier this year. Playing women's cricket is a viable option now in Scotland. We have 3 players playing in the 100, and they get good contracts. So there is there's employment there now,
which is always nice to see that dangled, isn't it? If you're going to play a sport that isn't traditionally played in the country, to actually see that there is a career path right the way through, rather than you're just doing something to be a bit willful and not playing traditional sports.
Yeah, I think but there's got to be options there for women, like there is for men.
Yes, absolutely. No reason why there shouldn't be. And I think you've mentioned the 100, and that has proved it very much so with the crowds that have turned out on the television. And there's a shout out in the middle. And it's a leg by. I said nothing and much had happened in the 11th over. In the 12th now, the reason nothing much happened in the 11th over, as we were chatting, was a very tight over by Liv Bell, I believe, there. We should give her credit for that.
Well, Liv is obviously, she's at the Thunder. She's bowled extremely well in this series. So she didn't come to the qualifiers last month because she was playing for the Thunder. And now
It's a big shout there. So it should be, because the bails have come off. I was looking at you chatting there, looked at the umpire. The one thing I didn't look at was the stumps. And the ball has gone right through. And that pleases me. A wicket for Abdullah Maqsood. And that will cheer her no end. She did put down an easy catch, and no catch is easy, is it, at international cricket? But
well, there's a lot of wind out there. So we had a dust storm the other day, didn't we?
We did indeed. We had a desert storm. There's a clue in the name of the venue,
Yeah.
Desert Springs. But no, that's terrific that Maqsood can take a wicket there and banish the memory of a little misfield earlier. And Scotland again staying on top of it, just when Ireland looked to get going again. Another wicket there that will slow things down, perhaps.
Well, this is always this is the business part of the game for me. These middle overs, it's a rotation of the strike. The slower bowlers come on, they sort of show their skills, and it's where the craft is shown in doing the basics for a long time, and that's how you build a big total. Really.
Indeed, yep. If you could pick a figure out the air that you think you can chase today, go on.
I hate this
on
question.
the spot.
I hate this question.
It's a meaningless question because they'll score what they score. But can you chase down 120 today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you chase down 140?
Absolutely.
There we go. I'm loving your confidence.
Well, I mean, some of the scores which we saw in the qualifiers, the same pitches. So I think anything is chaseable. I really believe that.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing the chase. I'll let you get back to high performing. What would you do during a match like this? What would you do? What's your responsibility during a match?
Well, at the moment, before I came here, I was speaking to you, the other high performance director. No, honestly, it's being here, seeing what the environment's like, seeing in the flesh how the players are playing. You get so much more of a feel,
of course,
being at the ground. You know, you can watch it on the TV, but you're not getting that feel. Which is great coverage, by the way, so very much thank you for that. But yeah, just being here, watching the game and understanding it, and then you can form your programmes on the back of that.
Yeah, lovely. Well, we're seeing some great cricket. I'll let you get on. I look forward to seeing the chase later on. This has been a fabulous over from Maqsood. A wicket maiden, just a leg by off of it. Toby, thank you very much indeed.
My pleasure.
Always nice to get an insight into what goes on behind the scenes, and particularly at the development stage. We chatted yesterday to Ireland's high performance director, and both directors in agreement that it is a career path, a viable career path now for Scottish youngsters. They see the women now playing alongside the men with the same size crowds in the 100 and the like, and it is a viable career path. It's that carrot that is dangled, and we're certainly seeing some superstars in the making here at Desert Springs in the Celtic Challenge. Last day today of the Celtic Challenge. Hopefully you've enjoyed joining us for last week's ODIs and this week's T20s. This is the last match of it. Nicely poised as we are. Start of the 13th over. 59 for 3. Just a single, takes it up to 60. And Scotland looking a very well-drilled unit today. It was tough for them in the field yesterday because they didn't score enough, and the game got away from them fairly early. So it was very tough for the bowlers to know quite what to do. You had to come up with a miracle, and nobody really managed to do that. But bowling first today, they're keeping it tight. They're playing good cricket. They're bowling in the right areas by and large. Sophie McMahon to face. And just drives all along the ground. Stopped at extra cover. And there is no run. And this is Chatterjee back onto bowl, but from the other end to her first spell. Strays down the leg side. Anything down the leg side is going to be a wide, and surely it is. Tidied up nicely though by Sarah Bryce behind the sticks. Oh, well fielded. Shy at the stumps. The batter was safely within the ground, but that's again sharp, just keeps the batters honest. I believe that was Hannah Rainey with the direct hit there. No, it wasn't Ailsa Lister. It was Ailsa Lister. Full ball right up there. And all Amy Hunter can do is push it back down the ground. And again, Scotland keeping it tight. Just a couple of singles and the wide in the over so far. Let's see if Chatterjee can complete it tidily. A little bit short. The sort of one that has occasionally been helped round the corner for 4, but on this occasion there is no run, and Prunaz Chatterjee bowls a very nice tidy over, gone for 2 off the bat plus the 1 extra. And again, Ireland aren't cutting loose yet. 13 overs gone, 7 to come. 62 for 3 is the score. Abdul Maqsood about to begin her second over. Only 3 singles off the first over. Floats that up there. A premeditated shot from Sophie McMahon, and the ball rather landed exactly where she put the bat. She didn't have to do much on the bat. The bat was sort of waiting there as the ball left Maqsood's hand. And another perhaps premeditated shot, another scoop certainly. This time around to the leg side. Just for the 1. We were discussing on air yesterday how much of the scoop shots are premeditated and how much they are in the moment. And I think the answer was, unless you are very, very, very good with very, very good reflexes, most of the time the scoop shots are premeditated. If you disagree with that, let us know. Social media, on Twitter. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me you can play a ball on its merits with a scoop shot. I won't necessarily believe you, but you can let me know. Another single. Tied it up by Hannah Rainey, sweeping on the offside. Just slightly short of a length from Maqsood. It's just the single. The field is changed for Sophie McMahon. There is a field up right back on the long on boundary and one at deep square leg. As it is, she drives on the offside. There's a slight misfield. There's a chance of a run out. And the umpire says no. Direct hit from Catherine Bryce. She took a moment. She took a moment to decide which end she was going to throw. If she'd thrown immediately to the bowler's end, I think that would have been a run out. But a moment of indecision, or a moment of decisiveness, whichever you want to call it, meant that the batter had reached her ground. It's the end of the over. It's the end of a tidy over. Nothing wrong with that first ball that went for 4 to the premeditated shot. And then singles off the rest of the over. 9 from it. The score goes up to 71 for 3 off 14. Toby quite confident that Scotland can chase down 140. Well, Ireland are halfway to that with 6 overs to go. It's going to be, who knows? Who even knows? I'd say we're somewhere in the 130 region that it's going to be. But my guess is no better than yours. McMahon Weights poised, high backlift. Just nudges it on the leg side, sets off for a single and is sent back by Amy Hunter. Ooh, it's a bit short and she gave herself time to cut that. The throw came in. The throw was a little wild and gave the batters a chance to run one overthrow. That was a very well run first run there, which put the pressure on the fielder at backward point. And again, just a little bit of width allows McMahon to have a carve at it on the offside, but just reaches the fielder, which is Maqsood, and there is no run. A premeditated shot, and there's the reply to it. Should play every ball on its merits. What do I know? The attempt at the reversed scoop, and the ball just goes right through. And that is the end of Sophie McMahon. She's got 10 off her 14 balls up until that point. Looking to accelerate with the funky shot, and it wasn't the shot for the ball. 73 for 4 now. And it's the tall figure of Ava Canning, striding confidently to the middle. And she doesn't hang around. She takes a liking to her first ball, clips it out. Crisply is the adjective, or the adverb even, that I'm going to use. Crisply down there to the mid-wicket boundary, but fielded on the boundary just for the one run. But a nice way of getting off the mark. Amy Hunter plays a shot out, a different shot, this one along the ground, but out to exactly the same place on the boundary, and again fielded by the boundary rider just for the one. It's the end of the over. A good over from a Scotland point of view. Just 4 from it, and the wicket of McMahon. Five overs to go. 75 for 4 is the score. So Amy Hunter facing, been there since the start. Scoops one into the air. Not the best of balls, 4 runs. She is rapidly now approaching a 50. It's been a very, very nicely put together innings. She's faced 42 balls. That takes her to 47. And she has been the backbone of this Ireland innings. So, on 47, faces Hannah Rainey. That'll take her to 48. Just a single out to the cover boundary. Brings Ava Canning down onto strike. takes her guard. And she'll have her first look at the bowling from this end, and the bowler from this end is Hannah Rainey. Rainey's happy with her field. In she comes. Ava Canning has a right sweep at it. Was there an edge? There was indeed, and she's on her way. A wider ball, she thought that's there for hitting. Threw her arms at it, and an edge, and through to the keeper. And that was short and sweet. She was obviously looking to get on with it. She wasn't hanging around. She played a nice attacking shot from her first ball in the last over. And a nice attacking shot there. But, as you can see in the replay there, didn't really have the feet anywhere in position for it. It was all arms. And just that little nick through behind. And gobbled up by Sarah Bryce behind the stumps. And again, Scotland still keeping it very tight. In comes Rainey. Short ball. And Rainey is on a hat-trick. Surprised her with the short ball. And Louise Little is on her way before she's even had a chance to get going. And Scotland cock a hoop, which is an expression I only ever hear in relation to cricket commentaries, so perhaps it's a cliche I shouldn't use, but they are thrilled with themselves, as well they might be. Georgina Dempsey makes her way to the middle. And in terms of styles of innings, very similar to both of those which we saw yesterday, which were innings that relied very much on one player getting a big score and others just trying to chip in. In this case, it's been Amy Hunter who is carrying the Ireland innings. There's still 4 overs to go. But we're down, dare I say it, to the tail. Georgina Dempsey. What's Rainey got in stock? She surprised Little with the shorter ball. That's a fuller ball. Not far off from getting the hat-trick. Just a little dab at it, an unconvincing dab from Dempsey. And Hannah Rainey has taken 2 for 11 so far. And those 2 came in consecutive deliveries in this over. Let's see if she can finish it off nicely. That's just banged in, slightly short of a length. Just the single, and that is a super over at this stage of the game from Hannah Rainey. Started off with a 4 and a single, then the 2 wickets. And a dot and a single. Tidy, tidy bowling in a 16th over. 4 overs to come. 81 for 6 is the score. I put my neck on the line earlier and said about 130. I don't think it's going to be too far away from that. I think it rather depends if Hunter's still there at the end. If she gets out, it might well be significantly less than that. The single of the last ball means that Dempsey is facing and a floated ball, which is just dead batted from Dempsey, and they scamper through for a single. Catherine Bryce, the skipper, has brought herself back on. Tweaking a couple of fielders for Hunter as well she might. In she comes. A bit more pace on that one. It's too short. Oh! It wasn't a good ball, but it very nearly bought a wicket. As it is, it's gone for 4. Down to long leg. And it means that Amy Hunter has reached a very nicely compiled half century. There is warm applause right around the ground. And applause from the Scotland players as well. But that was not far from being taken by Ellen Watson. That's loose again, and that on another day would have gone to hand. As it is, it balloons over the head of Lorna Jack. And they go for 3, and that is a very, very well run 3. And Ireland are finally moving up through the gears. Dempsey facing. Good ball from Bryce. Good line and length, meaning Dempsey would have had to do something with it. And all she could do with it was play it into the ground and out gently on the offside. Catherine Bryce comes in again. And just a gentle ball on the pads that is tapped away for a single. Brings Hunter back down onto strike. She's on 55. 55 out of the 90 runs that have been scored so far. But taking no risks. It was a good ball, just pushed back to the bowler. It's the end of the over. Perhaps honours even at the end of that over. It was one where Amy Hunter got going. And there are 3 overs to come. And it looks as if the first of those 3 will be Hannah Rainey again. She's taking a cap off, handing it to the umpire. You can possibly hear the flapping of what sounds like the flapping of flags. There's flags at the far end. We can't actually hear those here, but there's the flapping of the gazebo that covers the commentary area. And it means the wind has picked up again, as it did yesterday. Hannah Rainey races in, full of ball, and it's just tapped into the offside. And there's a single. So Catherine Bryce making sure she has her field where she wants it, and she's pushing the fielder right back. Maxudi's being pushed back out to deep mid-wicket boundary, which means the fielder at third has come up into the ring. Also Hannah Rainey herself is looking to move a fielder, but can't quite catch the attention. And the fielder that Rainey was trying to move was the fielder behind square on the leg side. That was, I think, where that shot was meant to go. In the end, it went behind square on the offside. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe it was intended to go straight over the keeper's head. As it is, went for 4 runs. Hunter pulling all the stops out now. And that's a good old heave across the line. And a very well run too. I was just wondering to myself after that previous ball, we've seen quite a few 4s come from scoops and overhead shots, and I'm just wondering what the proportion would be. I don't have the figures to hand. Sat here on my own as I do, but what the proportion would be of the fours that have been scored in the last couple of days between traditional shots and scoops. I think most of them might well have come from the scoop shots. Attempt at a pull, which is just bottom edged. One bounce to the keeper. She attempted to hit that into a different postcode. We do have postcodes in Spain, before you ask. And span herself round, but in the end it's just the bottom edge, and there are no runs. Rainey races in. Short ball again. And it might well have been way over the batter's head. As it is, Amy Hunter reached up for it, but could only pull it down for one run, and it's fielded at deep square leg just for the single. And the umpire says that's your one for the over. Nice to see Rainey mixing it up a bit and letting the batters know they can't have it all their own way. Nothing like a ball travelling towards your chin very quickly to keep you honest. And again, another nice ball. Good wheels, full of length. And they scamper through for a single. It's the end of the over again. 2 to come. Just 12 more balls to come. And Scotland at no point have really let Ireland get away with it. A competitive match. Scotland have to go back to the first match of this 5-match series for their other win, or for their only win so far. They won the first of the 3 ODIs. Ireland picked up the second and the third quite comfortably, and Ireland won fairly comfortably the first of the T20s yesterday. So, can Scotland top and tail this tournament with wins, even though they've lost the 3 in between? We shall find out at some point this afternoon, and we'll find out in the next 10 minutes or so what they're chasing. And they could well be chasing 4 more there. Because Georgina Dempsey danced down the track and played a nice lofted drive over long off, and the ball beat the 2 fielders. And the score goes beyond 100. 103 for 6 is the Ireland score. Slower ball and just nudged off the pads. A gentle single, although run enthusiastically. Does that make sense? There was no risk to it, but they ran it well. Catherine Bryce goes back to the top of her mark. She looks round, checks she's got the field where she wants. For Amy Hunter. Hunter gets herself in position beautifully early and whips that ball round the corner, off a leg stump, and there is nothing that Rainey, who is fielding down the boundary, can do to get that. The ball was well ahead of her. She gives me a knowing smile as if to say, yes, there's no way I could get to that, but I still tried. And Rainey just checking whether she should be finer or not, and Sarah Bryce, the keeper, just saying, no, stay where you are, stay where you are. The offside field, however, is being tweaked. A floated ball, inside edge, and no control over that from Amy Bryce. Went for a defensive shot and certainly didn't get all of it. And it squirts away just for the single behind square. Dempsey waits. Dempsey goes on the charge. Doesn't quite time it, rather off the toe end of the bat, and just goes for the 1 run down to long off. Still a lot of bounce in the Scotland fielders. They're up for everything. They're backing up well. Still calls of encouragement. They know they're very much in this game, and if they can just keep these last 2 overs tight, they've got a very chaseable total. It's a much fuller ball, which Amy Hunter can't do anything with. It's the end of the over, a good over from Catherine Bryce to finish her spell. Just the 1 over to come. There's been a couple of horrid, just looking at the Manhattan there. There are a couple of horrid overs which have damaged the innings somewhat, and 1 or 2 9-run overs. But other than that, Scotland have kept it nice and tight throughout. They've taken fairly regular wickets. But means we start the last over 6 wickets down. Amy Hunter is beautifully set. She's got the strike as she would want for the last over. There's a 3-woman committee discussing what to do at the top of the bowler's run-up. And those 3 women are Hannah Rainey, who won't be bowling, the captain, Catherine Bryce, and to finish her spell, she's bowled 2 from this end, 1 from the other end. She's come back to finish her spell from this end, which is Chatterjee. Will bowl the last 6 balls of the Ireland innings. There are many changes in the field, and I won't attempt to describe them all. Otherwise, it will just be a salad of words. But there are a number of leg side boundary riders, I think it's fair to say, for Amy Hunter. Chatterjee comes in, full ball, and doesn't matter where you put your field, if you're going to do that, clatters into the top of middle and off, and it is a great ball to start the final over. Hunter was well set. Hunter would have been looking to score well off the last over to set an imposing total, and she can't do that from where she's going to be watching it back in the pavilion. So again, the ebb and flow of this innings. Any time that Ireland have looked to really be pressing the accelerator, Scotland have come back and nipped another one out, and Chatterjee has done exactly that with the first ball of the 19th over. She gets a very well-deserved round of applause as she makes her way back to the pavilion. It's been a lovely knock. "68 runs, and other than that, nobody has scored more than a dozen from the Ireland team. Cara Murray plays the first ball that she faces very confidently. There's some very good running by Georgina Dempsey to turn that into a 2. I think if the throw had gone to the far end, Murray would have been well out of the ground, but that would have meant a much longer throw for the fielder. So 4 balls to come. In comes Chatterjee. Full ball. And it is fielded well out on the boundary. There'll be 2, perhaps 3. No, they're happy for going for 2. Murray takes the 2. And Chatterjee keeping it fairly tight in this last over. Started with the wicket and she's gone for 2 and 2 after that. 3 balls to come. And a good ball. Murray attempts to drive, mistimes, it squirts out on the offside and they scamper through for the 1 run. Two to come. Can Chatterjee keep it tight for these last two? 116 for 7 is the score. It's a very gettable target so far. Let's see what these last two balls produce. And very full, quite quick, too good for the batter. And goes through just for the dot ball. There is no run. And she's put in a good shift as Chatterjee. As I say, initial spell was 2 from this end. She bowled 1 from the other end. She's come back to finish things off, and she's finishing things off very, very well. And she fields off her own bowling. And there's just a single off that last ball, and it's a very, very good over. 6 off it, plus the wicket, means that at the end of it is 1-1. I'm waiting for my scoreboard to catch up. 117 for 7 off the 20. And we heard from no one better to give this advice, but we heard from the Scotland high performance director earlier that they can easily chase 120, can easily chase 140. He didn't say easily to either of those, but he said of course they can, and they'll be chasing less than that with Scotland. The final score for Ireland is 117 for 7. It has been again a story of one batter carrying the lion's share of the innings. Amy Hunter opened the innings, scored 68 of 54 balls, scored 10 fours in that. And then fairly quick wickets went down. Laura Delaney gave some support before being bowled by Maxu for 12. McMahon bowled Bell for 10. And then at the end there, Dempsey, 12 runs not out off 12 balls. Other than that, it's odds and ends elsewhere. The pick of the bowlers for me was Chatterjee, 2 wickets for 18 runs off her 4 overs, but everyone kept it fairly tight. 2 wickets also for Hannah Rainey, bowling a bit of pace there and mixing it up with a couple of very short balls to keep the batters on their toes. Bowled 3 overs for 21. Other than that, though, the batters didn't really get after anybody. Nobody went for over 8.5 and over, which isn't bad at all in T20. It's going to be a good chase. 118 is the target that Scotland will be looking to chase down. I will be back to take you through that in about 10 minutes. But for now, Tim Ames at Desert Springs in Andalusia in southeastern Spain. I will leave you for a little break. just pried to play for the series has already gone to Ireland, who have won 3 of the 4 games completed so far, but that won't be in anyone's mind. Scotland will be looking to chase this down, and they're facing the first ball. Is the woman we saw doing the lion's share of the bowling, which is Chatterjee, opening the batting. And another all-rounder bowling at her as well, another top-order batter opening the bowling, which is Ulla Prendergast. Prendergast, tall, high arm. Chatterjee drives on the offside, but as you can see, it's fielded in the covers. There is no run. And Chatterjee says, let's get on with this. There is a massive shout for caught behind. Chatterjee wants none of it. Looks in disbelief down at the umpire, who says, yeah, I'm as disbelieving as you are. Carry on. I mean, I heard nothing here, but with the wind coming through, somebody could pop a champagne cork in the middle and we probably wouldn't hear it here at the boundary. In goes Prendergast again, generating good pace. Just the leg by from it. No, it's runs. The umpire has not signalled, so there was an inside edge onto pad. Runs it is. And Darcy Carter, who batted so impressively yesterday, takes a guard. And just sees out the last ball of the over. Good start for Ireland. Prendergast just letting the one single from that. But Scotland hopefully have learnt the lesson yesterday, where they did bat a little bit like headless chickens. Well, even if they didn't bat like headless chickens, they ran like headless chickens on occasions. And although I'm congratulating Carter on her batting yesterday, there were 1 or 2 that didn't run as well as they could have done with her, let's put it that way. That was, for those that are wondering quite what was behind that last sentence, it was a mealy mouth way of me saying she ran out a couple of her partners, wasn't it? Let's be honest, let's get out there in the open. Now, here's the young woman that made such an impressive debut with the ball yesterday. Alana Dalzell took a couple of wickets on debut. Had a fine old time with the ball. And she will hope for similar heroics today. Well, very, very tight so far from Ireland. Tragedy stands and waits. Goes on the charge. All she can do is play it out to the fielder at short extra cover, and there is no run. Gabby Lewis in the covers. Now deep in discussion with her skipper, to whom she tosses the ball. Skipper tosses the ball back to the bowler, Dalzell, and we go again. Everybody had an opinion there, though. Thick outside edge, runs down to third, just the single. But it's runs on the board again for Scotland. They creep along. 2 for no loss in the second over. It was certainly a shot with intent. There's plenty of room out on the offside for the odd skied shot like that. There's just a deep third and a point. Again, good areas. Dot ball. Dalzell continuing a good form of yesterday. Getting a lot of enthusiastic shouts from the field. Low crouch, and then the upright stance. And very well backed up by Chatterjee. They scamper through. But it's a very distinctive batting stance from Darcy Carter, isn't it? She, for a tall woman, she crouches very, very low initially, and then as the bowler approaches the delivery stride, she stands up much straighter. There will be reasons, whether it's coached reasons or whether it's something she should develop for herself as she's grown up, but very distinctive. She will face the first ball of this next over. Ireland are going to spin. Laura Delaney, it's the skipper herself who is coming on to bowl. No, it's not. She's had the ball in her hand. She was polishing it up, but she hands it back to Ava Canning. Big old swing of the arms from Carter, but doesn't get all of it, and the ball just rolls out harmlessly to mid-off. There is no run. Ava Canning, in she comes. A little bit of width, straight to the fielder, and curiously the bails came off, but I think the bails might have come off. There is no appeal, so I think the bails were knocked off by a keeper's glove rather than a cricket ball. But it's another single to the total. Chatterjee to face. Ava Canning to bowl it. And there is a change in the field. Extra cover goes out to the boundary. Or cover goes out the boundary. We've still got an extra cover in there and a mid-off, so it's cover sweeper. And it's an attacking shot on the offside, but goes straight to one of those fielders at mid-off, and there is no run. So yeah, so that offside field is, there's a point, there's a deep cover on the boundary, there's an extra cover, and there's a mid-off. Leg side field is long on, is being pushed right back to the rope. Mid-wicket, square leg, and a long leg. And that's in the air, and it's spooned up into the ring. The fielder at cover, who had been brought in, takes that, and that is perfect captaincy. The field was tweaked, and the ball went exactly to one of the tweaked fielders. And it's the end of Chatterjee's innings. It's been a very, very tight start from Ireland. Chatterjee looking to get things going. She had a fairly good match with the ball, but not so impressive with the bat. Scotland lose their first wicket in the third over with only 4 runs in the ball on the board. Catherine Bryce comes to the middle to play a captain's innings. She scored the lion's share with all the runs last week in the ODIs. Didn't get going yesterday. Let's see what she can do today in the last of the T20s. Plays a firm drive into the leg side, but straight to the fielder. There is no run. Slower ball, but well picked by Bryce. Turns it round the corner, thinks about a second, decides against it. Means she keeps the strike for the next over. So, if the chase is going to be a realistic chase, these are the 2 batters that really need to get it going, and these are the 2 batters that are capable of getting it going. Catherine Bryce is a phenomenal bat for Scotland, and she scored, I think, something like 37% of all the runs that were scored off Scotland bats last week in the 3 ODIs. We saw what an impressive bat Darcy Carter can be yesterday. So there's certainly the firepower there to go up through the gears and chase down this total, but they've had 3 overs already, and they've only taken 5 off of that target of 118 that they need to get to. That's a lovely shot into the offside. There is an offside sweeper, so it was just the single. But 1 to the total. Darcy Carter, there she is. That's that deep crouch, and then as the bowler comes in, up she comes with the high back lift. And that's a nice shot out in the offside, but straight to the fielder at cover point, and there is no run. And with each of these dot balls, Ireland just turn the screw a little bit more. 6.5 is the required rate. Or a shade over. Again, nice ball, but again, just pushed out to that fielder and cover point, and there is no run again. And you can hear the screw just tightening further. Alana Dalzell, in she comes. Fuller ball, over pitched, and that is carved away on the offside by Darcy Carter. Just what she needed, and unfortunately, from Dalzell's point of view, just releases all that pressure that has been building, ball after ball, dot after dot. And it just gave Carter what she needed. There was width, it was too full. And you still have to hit them, and Carter hit it well. Better ball from Dalzell, and she's going to take a wicket. Carter tries to hoist one long over the leg side, and all she can do is spoon it up to the fielder at mid-wicket. And she's on her way after a very aggressive shot the previous ball. She perhaps needed to have a better look at that one. Anyway, she's on her way. And as I said, it was one of these two batters, Carter or Bryce, that needed to get going, or preferably both of them. Well, it'll have to be Bryce out of the two now. 118 is the total, is the target required. Scotland lose their second wicket with only 10 on the board. And we're in the fourth over. And Alana Dalzell, the youngster, continues to enjoy an impressive start to her T20 career. And that is the over. 5 off it, but crucially, the wicket of the dangerous Darcy Carter. Scotland will be disappointed by that. Even though I say that 1-4 released some of the pressure, Dalzell came back and recovered beautifully with that wicket ball. And Scotland once again find themselves with a few question marks. They need to accelerate, but they don't want to keep losing wickets like they did yesterday. Catherine Bryce is the batter who is facing, is the batter with the experience, is the batter with the ability. Let's see. She's got a couple of tight bowlers. There's 3 fielders in on the one in a ring on the leg side, 3 tight fielders on the offside. She finds the gap between 2 of the fielders on the leg side. It's a race to the boundary, which the ball just wins. A despairing dive on the boundary from number 64, Little, Louise Little. Chased it well, but the ball just ran slightly faster than she was able to. 4 runs. And Bryce plays a wristy drive, and it's just stopped for no run at mid-on. Ava Canning, in she comes. Slower ball, and it's just pushed back down the wicket. Well bowled. And again, it's the one a little short, which allows Bryce to pivot on it and pull it round onto the leg side, but this time straight to the fielder on the boundary, and it is just the single. Brings Sarah Bryce. We have the Bryces batting together. Sarah Bryce, the wicket keeper, facing now. In her own right, a very accomplished batter. High back lift, waits for it. And again, that is in the area that is allowed to be pulled round the corner. But Louise Little is down there, is up to the tasks, keeps it to 1 again. She's had a busy over, Louise Little, at backward square leg. See if Canning can find a better length. That's fuller, and it just gets a leading edge, and it's pushed down the ground. There is no run. 6 off it. A couple of those pulls could have gone either side of a fielder and made a much more expensive over of it, but they both went to fielders. And so it's just 6 off it, which means after 5 overs, 16 for 2. Still over 100 runs needed, 15 overs to come. The rate creeps ever upwards. 6.8 is the required rate. By no means impossible. Early days still. Alana Dalzell continues with her spell. And a full ball right up there. It just squirts out on the leg side, fielded by square leg, and there is no run. Sarah Bryce stands and waits and can do nothing but just push that ball back down the ground. It's fielded by Ireland's captain, Laura Delaney, at mid-off, and there is no run. In comes Dalzell again. To the waiting Sarah Bryce. High back left. Latches onto that one. Drives through the covers. It's half stopped at cover point, which means there is just the one run. Brings Catherine Bryce down onto strike. But another wonderfully economical over from Alana Dalzell. Again, full length, right up there, and just pushed down the ground to mid-on. And it's another dot ball, and the rate, according to my calculations, has crept above 7. It creeps ever upwards. And again, full length right up there, and nothing that Catherine Bryce can do but push that back to the bowler. Dalzell so far 2.5 overs, just gone for 8 runs, and has taken the 1 wicket as well. Excellent spell so far. One wonders whether she'll be asked to complete her spell or whether she'll be held in reserve. We will find that out in due course. Again, another full ball right up there. Half shout, but a tremendous over. Just the one from it. Scotland taking no great risks, but at the same time not keeping the strike rotated or reaching the boundary. So it's a case of what do Ireland do? More of the same, just keeping it tight, keep screwing it down. And Scotland, who so far have been waiting for the bad balls to punish, might have to improvise a few things off the good balls as well. And the batter who will do that initially is Sarah Bryce, facing at the moment. And that is a big old heave into the leg side. The ball hangs in the air a little bit with the blustery wind. Hard to judge from that one. But the fielder at mid-wicket, deep mid-wicket boundary was not able to get near that. That's Gabby Lewis right out there on the boundary. Catherine Bryce comes down to face. An attempt at reverse lap. Doesn't make contact with it. Taken cleanly behind the stumps by Amy Hunter, and there is no run. But we see there Catherine Bryce trying something a little bit different, just to break these shackles. And a good ball that all she can do is push out into the covers. And again, there is no run. 18 for 2, but we are in the 7th over. And there are still 100 runs required if Scotland are going to make a go of this chase. Canning comes in again. It's on a good length. Slightly short of a length allows Catherine Bryce just to carve it out to the cover boundary, but the fielder there stops it, and it is just one run. And Sarah Bryce has faced 6 balls for her 3 runs so far, so she's going to need to step on the gas a little bit. She drives out through extra cover, half stopped by the fielder at short extra cover. They think about 2 runs, but it's just the single. It does tick the board over. It brings the required runs down below 100. But we're going to need some bigger shots. We are going to need some bigger shots to the boundary. There is a change of field for Catherine Bryce. There's a fielder been put in for the reverse lap at short third. And she just rocks back and thumps that up to mid-wicket. Or straightish mid-wicket, between mid-wicket and long on. Just the single, though, to end the over. And another good one from an Ireland point of view. Conceding well below the rate. Ava Canning, 4 runs off it. Three overs completed for Ava Canning. 12 runs off it, 1 run. In fact, all the bowlers' figures are rather lovely at the moment. Prendergast 1 over for 1 run. Dalzell 3 overs, 1 wicket for 8 runs. And as I say, Canning 3 overs, 1 wicket for 12. Very tight from all the bowlers we've seen so far. And it remains to be seen whether Alana Dalzell will finish her spell. She is standing on a run up there, but also she's standing there with Gabby Lewis. And the captain comes over to join them, Laura Delaney. Indeed, Dalzell will be finishing her spell. Lewis backs up to mid-off, or more of an extra cover, and the captain slots in between the two at mid-off. Oh no, there's another change. Gabby Lewis is being swapped into the leg side. It's all changed. Good Lord. Point has been brought round to extra cover. Mid-wicket has been built across the point. I don't know why. And Alana Dalzell pushes one down the leg side. It will be 1 in the extras column. There's an awful lot of thought gone into this field, because fielders were taken out of positions and specifically put in other ones and replaced by other ones. It wasn't just a case of tweaking somebody. There's a lot of thought of the right personnel for the right job. That's just a single. Dalzell comes in again. been a lovely economical spell so far. Perhaps puts a little bit more zing onto that one. And it's just slightly mishit round the corner just for the single. Sarah Bryce didn't get anything like all of that. Catherine Bryce comes down to face. There are no changes to the field for the changing batters. Dalzell in again. Just gloved round the corner for a single. Oh, it wasn't. It was a leg by. There was no contact on there at all. So an even more economical analysis for Dalzell, with that going down in the extras column rather than the runs against her. Fuller ball, over pitches, and it disappears over the rope. We've not seen many sixes this week, and that's 6 of them. And a girl, Dalzell will be very cross with herself then. She's been very, very economical so far, and she over pitches, perhaps trying to just put a bit too much zing into that one. And that is hit very, very well. Sarah Bryce down for 6 runs. Let's see what Dalzell can do. Last ball of her spell. And again, it's back to a good length. And just the single, all Sarah Bryce can do is push it out into the offside for the single. Now I was missing the wide, wasn't I? That was not the last ball of her spell. She needs to complete it now, and it's Catherine Bryce facing. And again, on a good length, Catherine Bryce attempts to chop it down to third. Doesn't get much on it, or perhaps gets too much on it, whichever way you look at it, because it goes straight into the ground. And they just trot through for a single. End of a great spell from Alana Dalzell. 4 overs, 1 wicket for 19 runs. Excellent analysis from a youngster. She's had a good week. And she'll enjoy her glass of Fanta or whatever it is that youngsters drink to celebrate this evening. So Catherine Bryce on 11 runs, Sarah Bryce on 12 runs. Something of a partnership growing now. Again, just that little short allows Catherine Bryce to free her arms on the offside, but straight out there to the boundary rider, just the single. Discussions between the batters, also discussions between bowler and captain. There's a lot of thinking goes into this game. Sarah Bryce facing. Possibly, yep. Outreach of the batter, and the umpire says, nope, you're going to have to do that one again. It's all at Prendergast back on bowling now. She opened the bowling from that end just with a 1 over spell. Was replaced by Canning, but she is back on now. Oh, and there's a chance. Oh, just stabbed out with very, very hard hands on the leg side from Sarah Bryce, and could easily have given a catch to the fielder at short mid-wicket, which is Amy Maguire. Or is it Cara Murray? It's Cara Murray. chopped nicely by Sarah Bryce out down to third. They're running hard. They ran 1.5 or 1.25 and then decided there wasn't 2 there and both turned back. It's all right if you play the odd dabs for singles here and there, but they have to be punctuated with boundaries as well. And we haven't seen a great many of those in this Scotland reply. We're into the 9th over. And the score is only 37. A carve, a wide one from Catherine Bryce. She has a little quizzical look at the umpire. And the umpire says, "What are you looking at?" None of that happened, obviously. That conversation didn't happen. That was all, unsaid. All with a raise of an eyebrow and a stern look. Prendergast is ready. Catherine Bryce is ready. That's a little bit shorter, and it allows Bryce to really latch onto it, thump it down to deep long on. But there is a fielder right out there on the boundary. And again, that perhaps deserved to be punished rather than going straight to the fielder. There is a lot of gap out there on the leg side boundary. And Catherine Bryce will feel she missed out there. Shorter ball. Sarah Bryce attempts to play it on the offside, plays a sort of a diagonal bat shot rather than either a straight bat or a cross bat shot, and can just push it out into the ring, and there is no run. And again, another good over from an Ireland point of view. And with Dalziel having completed her allocation from the commentary position end, we have a change of bowling. And it will be Cara Murray to bowl. As she's warming up, she's just yorked Orla Prendergast, who has to run behind herself to get it. Cara Murray then, coming in off a shortish run up. Bowled very effectively yesterday. And that just tiny bit short of a length allows the batter to pull it round, but with no great power, into the leg side, and is just the single. Cara Murray to Sarah Bryce. Bryce winds up for a big heave and finds the gap, and it runs towards the boundary. It's slowing up, but just creeps over the boundary rope, barely has the strength to get over the rope. But it's 4 runs, and a very much needed 4 runs for Scotland from Sarah Bryce. Nothing much wrong with the ball. Just a case of Sarah Bryce thinking, we do need to be getting on with this now. Just the single into the leg side. Jogged by the batters. There was never going to be 2 there. Well taken. Throw back in by Amy Hunter, who isn't the tallest of keepers, and had to take the throw way above her head there. And Cara Murray comes in once again. And the umpire, after a bit of a look, decides that is a leg side wide. I think Murray perhaps got off a little easily there, because Catherine Bryce was looking to put that into the middle of next week. And Bryce does latch onto that pull, but again straight out to the boundary fielder on the mid-wicket boundary, and it is just the single. Scotland are going to have to take some risks at some point, and Cara Murray recognises that because she has asked to have a long off fielder. So mid-off trots across to mid-on, and mid-on goes to long off. Something tactical about that as well. As it is, the run is just pushed out on the offside, direct hit, but umpire says no, and he says no because Catherine Bryce had comfortably made her ground. Umpire comes in and does the needful with Bales. Trots back down. Nice to get a bit of exercise as an umpire occasionally, trotted in and out. There's a lot of standing around to be done. Catherine Bryce winds up, and then just before she plays a huge pull shot, she decides against it and just dabs the ball back down into the ground. We are stopping for 10 over drinks, which gives us a chance to have a look back at the innings so far. Chatterjee opened the batting with Carter. Neither of them really managed to get going. Chatterjee bowled, Cork Dempsey bowled Canning for 2 runs off 11 balls, and Carter, Cork Murray bowled Dalzell for 6. And it wasn't until these two batters got together, Catherine Bryce and Sarah Bryce, that Scotland started their response in earnest, really. This partnership is worth, and I'm going to have to do sums now, this partnership is worth 36. But there's a long way to go. 72 runs required of 10 overs, 7.2 an over. But they have been showing intent, certainly in the last couple of overs. And we saw that in that last over as well, with the big wind-up from Catherine Bryce, but sensibly perhaps deciding that the ball wasn't where she thought it was going to be. But the intent is there to start hitting some big shots. From a bowling point of view, that one over from Murray there went for 9, but before that the bowlers that have bowled so far have all bowled economically. Prendergast going for just 2.5 and over, Dalzell going for 4.75 and Canning going for 4. So everything that Laura Delaney could ask for her bowlers has been happening. The fielding has been tight and enthusiastic. Ireland don't need to work miracles, they just need to carry on doing what they're doing. But the difference for Scotland today over yesterday has been that they haven't been hemorrhaging wickets as they did yesterday at regular intervals. Does one hemorrhage wickets, or does one hemorrhage runs? Does one not? But there's a discussion for another time, or not at all. Can you imagine how badly a conversation would going if you thought now is the time to discuss whether hemorrhaging is the correct verb for wickets? Let's leave that. Sarah Bryce is ready. We have spin on at the far end. And we have a field that reflects that, in that we have got now a deep square leg, deep mid-wicket. We've got a cover boundary fielder. We've got a fielder on the 1 behind square. And Sarah Bryce didn't get all of that and just gets the 1. And she will feel she missed out on that. Amy Maguire certainly dragging that down a little. But that's the first ball. Let's take time to settle. Left arm round. And again, doesn't quite get it right. And it allows Catherine Bryce to play one of her favourite shots, which is that shot round the corner, 4 runs down the long leg. And she is determined not to let Amy Maguire settle. Again, she's over-pitched, and she's got away with it. Oh, no, she hasn't. It's a wide. The umpire says it's a wide. But Catherine Bryce might feel she missed out on that one. It was a bit of a free hit. And as all good captains do, Laura Delaney trots across to a bowler who hasn't found a rhythm yet and just has a few words of encouragement and advice. Good captaincy. In comes Maguire. See, again, a little bit leggy, allows it to be fetched round the corner. A bit of a wild throw back in. Just the single. Long leg is now right back on the boundary. I mean, it's just excellent captaincy by Delaney. She knows whose shots are where. And as soon as there was a chance that Maguire might bowl a ball that Catherine Bryce had lapped round the corner, she puts that fielder right back on the boundary. She's totally on top of her job, Laura Delaney. And Amy Maguire following a dot ball. Can she back it up with another one? No, she's too short. Oh, she has backed it up with a dot ball for one that Catherine Bryce certainly missed out on. It was there for one of her favourite shots around the corner, and she just couldn't put back to ball. And we finish the over 54 for 2. 11 overs. Nine to come. It's very much game on. This partnership is worth 44. But it only needs one of these two to get out. And Ireland would fill the back on top. But if these two stay together, there's a very good chance that Scotland will be there or thereabouts at the end. Laura Delaney, the captain, comes on herself. Just the single. Out to mid-wicket. Cara Murray might feel a little hard done by that she was taken off after just the one over and the captain's brought herself on. But there's no room for sentiment in this game. And if Laura Delaney believes she is the woman for the job, she's going to bring herself on. And so far she's just gone for one run from 2 balls. Floated up there with that one, a little bit slower ball. Well watched by Catherine Bryce, but all she can do is push it down the ground. And just the single. So 2 from the over so far. We're halfway through the over. Full of ball, and that is worked beautifully into the gap by Sarah Bryce. In fact, perfectly into the gap. There was no huge amount of effort to it. It was all just placement. And runs away for 4 runs. And that's one of the nicest cricket shots we've seen today. In comes the Delaney again. And again, she gives a bit of width to Sarah Bryce, but Sarah Bryce doesn't put back to ball, and there's oohs and ahs as the ball is taken cleanly behind the stumps by Amy Hunter. Oh, dragged down a little bit from Delaney, and a misfield as well means there's a single that perhaps shouldn't have been. But it's the end of an over. Cara Murray will be thinking, yeah, I probably could have bowled it as tidily as that as well, but she'll be back later, no doubt. Catherine Bryce on 20. Sarah Bryce on 27, as you can see there on the card. And a very healthy partnership. And despite the very sluggish start, 57 required of 48 balls, it's still very doable. Both of these batters have shown that given a little bit of width, or given anything short, they will cut and pull. We haven't seen a great deal of drives down the ground from them. And then there's another one carved out on the offside. It's a race to the boundary again, and the ball once again wins. It's becoming a bit of a trademark shot in this innings from Sarah Bryce, that carve out through the offside. And Scotland are certainly ticking over much more nicely now. Georgina Dempsey, the bowler, discussing with her captain what she wants, and again another field change. And I think that's wise that for Sarah Bryce, the fielder at third has been put down to the boundary and the fielder at fine leg has been brought up. Again, width on the offside, on the front foot this time, driven out to point and very well run for two. And Sarah Bryce seeing it very well at the moment. I think we're in for a thriller. What do you think? Let us know. Let us know on Twitter. You can let us know on YouTube comments if you want, but nobody's monitoring that, as far as I'm aware, because I've not heard anything back from that. Sarah Bryce, not for the first time and probably not for the last time, plays out on the offside, but this time for no runs. I say let us know on Twitter. What's it called today? I know it was X last week. He'll call it something else at some point. Anyway, it is Twitter, isn't it? Just because it changed the name doesn't mean. It's like when the post office became Consignia in the UK. Nobody called it Consignia. Whipped out on the leg side by Sarah Bryce. Very, very well fielded. And thrown from a kneeling position by Gabby Lewis. So Catherine Bryce, Scotland captain, vastly experienced. Stands waiting. Dempsey comes in. Oof. It kept low, kept a little bit low. There's an appeal, but again, one of those stifled appeals. And there is no run. A full length from Dempsey, driven back just over her head, looked for half a second or a quarter of a second if there might be a chance for a caught and bowled, but it's just a single. Good recovery from that first ball that went for 4. But up there or thereabouts with the rate from that over. 4, 6, 7, 8 runs off the over. So it is there or thereabouts. In fact, that will take us exactly there, wouldn't it? 8 and over would get us exactly there. 56. Now my maths has gone to, what's it? Take no notice of me. Take no notice of me. If there are any school children listening, concentrate at school, otherwise you end up talking to people on a microphone, describing cricket in the sunshine, but not being able to do maths. Actually, it's not such a bad life. Cara Murray is back on, drags one down a little bit, which is heaved out to mid-wicket, but there is just the 1 run. The fielding is a little untidy, but there is no overthrow. We'll get letters now that I've told school children that they don't need to concentrate at school because they can end up working in the sunshine. We'll get letters, won't we? Kids, do your best at school. There's a nice shot out to the extra cover boundary, but there is a fielder out there, so it's just 1 run. A premeditative reverse lap beats a fairly half-hearted fielding effort and goes for 4. It looked as if it were going to be a dot ball. Catherine Bryce had started running and then had stopped thinking it had been fielded and then continued running when it was misfielded and then stopped when it went for 4. So that's the best way to pull a muscle, isn't it? All that stop-start stuff. Or do an Achilles tendon, the stop-start stuff. But these are finely honed international athletes in front of us. They can do these things. Cara Murray comes in again, drops a little short, and that is carved away. Well, not carved away, pulled away on the leg side, but there is only a single. Again, the throw comes in and isn't taken cleanly. Dare I say it, there's just a tad of nerves in the Ireland fielding. They fielded very, very tidily yesterday. They fielded very, very tidily for the first half of this innings. But as the rate has been climbing, we've seen 1 or 2 mistakes, and that isn't going to help Ireland nerves either. As the ball is heaved out into the leg side. Was it a 4? Was it a 6? I think it's been signalled for 4, but it was a big old hit anyway. Yeah, and if Irish nerves are jangling in the field, I think they've got every reason to be. Cara Murray again comes in. Better length on that one. And chopped out into the offside, and there is no run. Murray takes her hat and her glasses and something else. She took 3 things from the umpire there. I don't know what the third was. What would it be? A cap, glasses, and I don't know, packet of cigarettes? Probably not, I would have thought. Who knows? Well, an interesting over. And if there are any viewers out there who are neither allied to Scotland nor Ireland, it's an interesting game that could go either way, isn't it? For any Scotland supporters or Ireland supporters, a bit of a nerve jangler now. 11 runs off that over. 38 runs required off 36 balls. And I would have Scotland as slight favourites. Again, what do you think? Let us know on social media. Let each other know on social media. Or turn to the person next to you on the sofa and tell them. Nice shot into the offside from Bryce. Catherine Bryce. But just for the one, brings Sarah Bryce down onto strike, who wants to dash down and talk to Catherine about something, and Catherine says, keep it down, just keep it down. Keep going, Louise the shout. Louise Little, the bowler. And that's a nice ball on the spot there. And elicits a defensive shot or just a push out into the covers. She'll be looking to bowl well, Louisa Little, because she had a very brief cameo appearance, if that, batting. She was out first ball. So she'll be looking to salvage something from her day with the ball rather than the bat. And if she can nip one of these two Bryces out, that'll go a long way towards winning this game for Ireland. In she comes. Catherine Bryce reaches for it theatrically, but the umpire says it wasn't a wide. In she comes again. Full of ball. Chopped out on the offside just for the single. Two fielders go for it together. It is just the single. It's a good over from Louise Little so far. Can she finish it off tidily? Right, well, Catherine Bryce got all of that. Sorry, Sarah Bryce got all of that and some more. But sadly, from her point of view, straight to the fielder on the boundary. Which means the over was just 3 runs from it, I believe. 4 runs from it. But exactly what Ireland needed. Following that over that went for 11 runs before that. And the scales just tip back towards Ireland. Or do they? It is nip and tuck. Laura Delaney has the ball back in her hands again on both occasions where Cara Murray has had what a slightly expensive over. The captain has come back on herself to attempt to redeem matters. She went for 7 of her last over. Let's see what she can do. 34 runs required of 30 balls. And that will just be an extra. The umpire signals that. A scampered single leg bye. Again, just a single, but it's ticking it over. This is hotting up into a very exciting finish. If occasionally I sound a bit sort of languid and bored with proceedings, it's certainly nothing to do with the cricket. It's just an old man who's been worn down by life, basically. But in this very moment, I'm as excited as the next man in the fact that this game really is hanging in the balance now. And it's a couple of big hits away from going in Scotland's favour. Or it's a few tidy balls and a wicket away from going in Ireland's favour. And you can feel that tension around the ground. We didn't have that tension yesterday. It was very much a sort of a foregone conclusion at an early part of the chase, of the Ireland chase yesterday. But Scotland have stayed in the hunt here after their quiet start to this innings. And there's a big heave. Sarah Bryce didn't get all of it, but she got enough to get it out for 2 runs. buzz is back in the Island fielders. You know, I mentioned a few overs ago that they seem to be a bit nervy. They, having said that, there's a... Oh, it's a yes-no moment again for the batters because there was a semi-misfield. And, the old adage, never run on a misfield unless there's two, and there certainly was not two there. But, yeah, the Ireland fielders are buzzing again. Perhaps they've regained that composure that disappeared when they went for that big 11 over. Catherine Bryce being fed her strengths but couldn't take advantage of that one. And only half gets hold of it round the corner for a single. And in that over, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, slight advantage Ireland. 4 overs. 4 overs to come. 28 runs needed. If I sound slightly quizzical then, it's because my screen is running behind and I needed to look up to the other scoreboard. I'll let you into these little insights into my exciting life of basically squinting and technology. Squinting, technology and talking. That's all there is to this. Catherine Bryce is facing one big over will sway it very much back to Scotland. Let's see what she's got. Uses her feet well to get down to it, just the single. Brings Sarah Bryce down onto strike. Sarah seems to have been the two batters prepared to take the more risks so far. Louise Little has the ball. Went for 4 runs, only 4 runs off her last over. That one in a little bit short, and she's got the wicket. Has she? No, she hasn't. It's gone past where I'm sitting. I thought that had been taken, but no. It's gone all the way to the boundary for 4 runs. Well, sorry if I got you excited there if you were an Ireland supporter. That's a trick of the eye from where I'm standing, or sitting. And that's 4 runs. 4 good runs for Sarah Bryce. And so she's prepared to take the risks, played that uppishly. But the reward was there. The reward was there for the risks. And it brings the required rate down now to 23 needed of 22. If we can just get it under a run of ball. Again, Laura Delaney telling a bowler what she wants. She's got the field she wants. It's up to Lou Little to deliver it. Full of ball. She's skied a full toss and it is taken. However, the umpire has called no ball. I wonder why there was no excitement out there on the field. As I'm watching the fielder rather than the umpire, I didn't hear the call of no ball. It's a free hit. And such are these fine differences, aren't there? Fine differences. If that would have been a tad lower, full toss that had been caught, certainly things would have been back in Ireland's favour. But now, with the extra and with the free hit, Catherine Bryce is free to have a right old charge at this one. Will she give it a charge? Will she stay at home and try and fetch it round the corner? Will she play it on its merits? Very hard to play an extra ball on its merits. But that's exactly what she does, and she plays it baseball style over the head of Laura Delaney. And Delaney chases to the boundary but can't get there in time, and the free hit goes for 4, and it's proving to be an expensive over for Lou Little. There is very generous applause from the clubhouse. I was just checking I hadn't missed something. Sarah Bryce is on 49, but that was Catherine Bryce who was batting there. So the warm applause is just for passing 100. There we go. Catherine Bryce carves that out on the offside just for the one. But we are in under runner ball territory now. And it has been, after what was a very, very sluggish start from Scotland, it has been a well-paced chase from Catherine Bryce and Sarah Bryce. Again, chopped out on the offside. It'll be just the single. And the noise, and that is the 50 for Sarah Bryce. That's the one I thought I'd missed just now, but that is Sarah Bryce's 50. And it came at exactly the right time, the right pace, and the right place for Scotland as well. Right pace and right place in the innings. Because that start was, as I was saying, or beginning to say earlier, very, very sluggish. And they've just upped the rate where they needed to. Fuller ball, driven by Catherine Bryce, and that's gone for 4 as well. And it's the over that has very much pointed the direction towards... I'll start that sentence again. I didn't know where I was going with it. Rather than stumbling towards the end of that sentence, basically I'm reading something and trying to say something at the same time. And I'm managing to do neither successfully. But it was an over that certainly swung the pendulum in Scotland's favour. I can't do two things at the same time. I can do one thing at the same time, but two things at the same time, reading and talking, was beyond me there for a second. I don't know how these people play one-man bands where they're doing 4 or 5 things at the same time. Or dashing around plates on sticks in the circus that I used to have. Do you remember that? Anyway, back to the cricket. Delaney, in she comes. Over pitches slightly, or it's actually right there up in the block hole, turned into a very good length. Sarah Bryce goes to drive, couldn't get a full bat on it. Laura Delaney is really going to have to bowl a captain's over now. In she comes. Drags it a little bit short. Sarah Bryce looked as if she was going to give that the heave, but again, only really gets the bottom half of the bat on it. And it's just a single. In comes Delaney. Fuller ball. Straight out, just returned back down the ground. The fielder takes it, threatens to try at the stumps, but no risks. Ireland can't afford to give away any overthrows now. Fuller ball again, and that is fielded at mid-off, and it's another dot ball. Well, Delaney needed to come on and do something special, and something special she is doing. She's keeping it very tight. Consulting with Gabby Lewis. Lewis walks back to her fielding position at mid-wicket. Delaney comes into bowl. Catherine Bryce waits. Catherine Bryce chops out on the offside. There is a fielder out there. It's a case of will it be 1 or will it be 2? They turn for the second. They get the second comfortably. And Scotland are down to needing single figures to win this last T20 of the Celtic Challenge here at Desert Springs in Spain. What a cracking match to finish the series. A week and a half of top quality international cricket. And Again, just forced out on the offside for the single. But we are going to have possibly a last over finish. It's been a super match. And although it could still go either way, Scotland requiring just 8. Just 8 from, so just 7, isn't it? Just 7 from the last 12 balls. The batters having a little chat. Should be justifiably pleased with themselves for the way they've paced their innings. Ireland once again in conference. Georgina Dempsey has the ball. She's been given strict instructions from her skipper there. And also Gabby Lewis. It tends to be the brains trust, doesn't it? Laura Delaney and Gabby Lewis come together to confer quite often with the bowlers. Gabby Lewis having one quiet word. One wonders whether Dempsey's mind is full of all the advice she's got from both sides now. Let's see if the advice can do the trick for her. In she comes. Catherine Bryce waiting. Fallen right up there from Dempsey. It's a good ball, but the gap found by Catherine Bryce takes the single, and singles will do it from here on in. It's going to need a couple of dot balls, or ideally one of these batters to get themselves out. The momentum really shifted in this match, didn't it, on that full toss that was called a no ball, that would have been a catch if it hadn't been, and then the free hit went for 4, and the momentum shift started there. Such fine margins in T20. Sarah Bryce facing. She's already reached her 50. Catherine Bryce at the other end, who opened the innings, is on 45. Again, another single from Sarah Bryce brings Catherine Bryce down onto strike. Scotland edging ever closer to victory. As a cherry on the top of that, if it should happen, will Catherine Bryce get to her 50? That will be the last thought on her mind. She'll just be wanting to score the runs for her side at the moment. Heaves one into the leg side, but straight to the fielder. Georgina Dempsey. What's she going to do with this? Is she going full? You're going block hole. That's a good length. There's a chance. Oh my goodness me. All Prendergast had to make a split-second decision there. Was she going to throw for the run out? Was there a chance of an overthrow if she did? Catherine Bryce goes on to 46. Sarah Bryce facing. And that is carved away on the offside, but just as far as the deep third fielder. The umpires consult. And again, the Scotland march. Is it a march or is it a tiptoe towards this target? They're not taking any silly risks now. They've decided on a conference. Did they need a conference? Don't overthink it, ladies. Come on. Catherine Bryce, she waits. Gets something on it. Goes very, very fine. They're going to run for 2. There's a chance of 3. They stick at 2. Scores are level. No, that is the win, is it? No. What's going on? No, the scores are level. I thought everybody was walking off, but it's just the end of the over and the umpires are switching over. Six balls to come. 1 run required for a Scotland victory, and it will be a very well-earned Scotland victory because this has been a terrific partnership between Catherine and Sarah Bryce. The partnership, they came together when the score was on 10 for 2 of 3.5 overs, and they've put on over 100 together. No, they haven't. Yes, they have. Of course they have. 107 together. And there is a great way to finish the game. A big yahoo into the leg side. It went more up than long, but it has gone over the rope. Scotland have won. The 2 Bryces embrace as well they might. They have done a superb job for Scotland. Scotland finish the Celtic Challenge here at Desert Springs with a win. Ireland will be disappointed, but they have acquitted themselves very well across the whole series and won the series 3-2. So there's much to celebrate, both from the Scotland women and the Ireland women. Both camps will take a lot of positives from what they've seen over the last week and a half. But in this very moment, it is Scotland who take the plaudits for a well ground out chase from Catherine Bryce and Sarah Bryce to chase down 118, and they have done it with 5 balls to spare. And it is a fine Scotland victory. Let's just look down the card. So, Chatterjee opened with Carter, and both of those got out cheaply. And then there's this big partnership which we've seen between Catherine Bryce, who came in first wicket down, and Sarah Bryce. Catherine Bryce scoring 48 not out off 52 balls with 5 fours, and Sarah Bryce, perhaps the more aggressive of the two, 57 off 44 balls, 6 fours and 1 6, and a beautifully timed and paced chase it was indeed. From a bowling point of view, Ireland used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bowlers, and the pick of those might well be. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? Because it 1 or 2 went quite expensively, but wickets were taken by Dalziel, who took 1 for 19 off 4 overs. Canning took 1 for 12 off 3, and those were the only 2 wickets to fall. So I'll let you look down the list yourselves on those, but they were the only 2 wickets to fall. A nice economical spell at the top from Prendergast, who bowled 2 overs for just 5 runs. But in the end, Scotland grounded out well. There will be presentations, there will be handshakes, there will be rejoicing, and there will be, I would imagine, a fair amount of letting hair down here in the Spanish sunshine tonight. It's been a tremendous tournament. Thank you very much to all the officials involved, both the match officials and the officials here at Desert Springs, for organising it. This has been the Cricket Ireland live commentary for you. Last 2 games from myself, Tim Ames. Thank you to the technical team that have made this possible, and everybody involved in the organisation of the Celtic Challenge, which has gone to, despite the loss today, Ireland, who won the tournament 3-2. So we leave you with that news of an Ireland win in the tournament and a Scotland win, and today's match honours everywhere from glorious sunny Desert Springs here in Andalusia in southeast Spain. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you in the next tournament. Enjoy your cricket.